Hey y'all, Mama Snark here. So I wanted to do a quick little video on using Genie Plus with toddlers. Is it worth it? Which parks do you get the best benefit from using it? And questions on using rider swap with it. Because I had a couple of questions about using rider swap with the new paid for Genie Plus and Lightning Lane services, and there wasn't a lot of information out there. Cast members, it's such a new service that cast members still don't fully understand it themselves because it is confusing, guys. It's so confusing. I don't know why they made it as complicated as they did. But anyway, I'll try to cover the best that I can about our process and using it and how it went. So is it worth it if you have two small children? So we are a family of four. It's myself, my husband, our 3-year-old that is 40 inches tall, or he's like 41 and a half inches tall. So he's tall enough to ride a lot of things. And then my 2-year-old is not tall enough to ride most rides with a height requirement. She is at like 36, 37 inches. So there was a lot of stuff that she couldn't ride. So for us, we found the best benefit to be at Magic Kingdom using it. We purchased it, I think 3 days of our 7 park days that we had, and of the 3 days that we purchased it were all days that we were either starting in Magic Kingdom or park hopping into Magic Kingdom, because we found that to be the only park that we got like a benefit from. So if you were in Magic Kingdom, even if you don't have toddlers, if you're in Magic Kingdom, get it for your Magic Kingdom days. 100,000% get it for Magic Kingdom days. There are so many rides at Magic Kingdom that you do benefit from it, and I wouldn't necessarily say that you couldn't ride as many rides if you didn't pay for the service, but paying for the service allowed us to have like break times. So we had a couple of times in there where, you know, we had an hour or so before our next Lightning Lane pass started, so we were able to go and get like a waffle from Sleepy Hollows and enjoy that and watch the cavalcades roll by. We were able to just go get popcorn and let my kids like sit in the hub grass and eat popcorn and look at the castle and hear the music and watch people. So for us, it was worth it. Also, not having to wait in lines with 2 toddlers. Take my money, take all my money, because that was worth it for that park, 100%. The other parks, it's just not as worth it if you have little ones with you. Like if you have teenagers with you or older kids that can do a lot of rides, then you would probably benefit getting it just for your whole trip. But for us, since there aren't a lot of rides at other parks aside from Magic Kingdom that our little ones could do, it just didn't make as much sense. We found that the best bang for our buck, or I guess the best way to maximize our time, was to use that early park admission, 30 minutes early for resort guests, on-site resort guests. So if you were staying at a Disney on-site resort, this is a huge benefit for you, especially if you have small children and you're gonna be up early anyway for the most part if you have little ones. Like my kids usually wake up between 6 and 7 a.m. So it wasn't a huge stretch for us to get up early enough to make it onto the bus to get to the parks for that early admission. So for Hollywood Studios, we had 2, so you still have to do the park reservation. So we had 2 park reservations for morning times for Hollywood Studios. So that first day we did Mickey, we like rope dropped for the early park admission, the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And then our second morning we rope dropped and rider swapped with Slinky Dog Dash with my 3-year-old. And after that, we were able to knock out the few other rides that my toddlers were tall enough, like Toy Story Mania, Alien Swirl and Saucers. I think that's about it, honestly, that they are tall enough to ride. Like, there's not a lot for little ones at Hollywood Studios. And then at Animal Kingdom, we did, we rope dropped Navi River Journey. And then as soon as we finished Navi River Journey, we went to Africa and did the safari ride, which do it in the morning because the animals are a lot more active in the morning. So we were able to see the animals kind of like out and about and eating and not just sleeping. So if you are on site, absolutely get up early. I know it's your vacation time, but it's worth it. Get up early, get there for the early admission. What we did, so the early park admission starts 30 minutes before park opening. you can get into the park. We found like an hour before park opening, so like 30 minutes before the 30 minutes early admission started, if that makes sense. And different parks have different ways of how they handle that. So like Magic Kingdom, the early park admission, like for resort guests, started at 8:30 a.m. They were letting people into the park starting at like 8ish, and that's for everyone, not just resort guests. So everyone can get into Magic Kingdom early, and they would just like kind of hold you in the hub in front of the castle. So people could get in, like shop, take pictures in that hub area in front of the castle. But if you're an early resort admission guest, they had a like pathway blocked off with like ropes and cast members for you to go that way, and they scan your Magic Band or your like room key, your like ticket card, to make sure that you do have a resort reservation. And then you could go from there through like Fantasyland or Tomorrowland, and then you would have to go like all the way to Adventureland. So it's like they had the resort guest like area roped off into one spot for you to get in for that early admission. So for Magic Kingdom, I recommend doing Peter Pan. You need to look at the list. There's a list, and I'll try to insert the list here of what attractions at what park are included in that early resort guest admission, because it's not all of the rides, which is a bummer. So for Magic Kingdom, hit Peter Pan first, and I'm pretty sure that's what most people are doing, or hit Seven Dwarfs Mine Train first, which is what everyone else is doing. Not all of our kids were tall enough to ride Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Man Cub was riding. Hey, Man Cub. Shh. Shh. My toddler's singing in the living room because he's been up since 10:30 last night. Apparently he didn't need sleep, so it's like 5 a.m. and I'm filming this, and I'm tired. So, rides included with early park admission. Not all of my kids were tall enough to ride Mine Train. Man Cub was tall enough. Weezer was not tall enough. So we chose to do Peter Pan for that early park admission. And we got there a little bit late for the early park admission, I think at like 8:40 instead of 8:30. We took pictures in front of the castle first because that's what I wanted to do while there weren't a lot of people there. And then from there, we made our way to Fantasyland and did Peter Pan. So by the time the park opened, we were either just getting on Peter Pan or just getting off of it. And then we were able to just walk on to It's a Small World. And then from there, I purchased the Genie Plus and started booking our fast passes. And if you'll look at I can link my first park day video too. So we did Peter Pan with early park admission, walked on to It's a Small World. I booked Haunted Mansion, and then at that time Thunder Mountain only had a 5-minute wait, so I did Thunder Mountain with Man Cub, and then we did our first lightning lane for Haunted Mansion. So we got 4 rides knocked out by like 9:20 or something like that, and then we had a snack, or I guess breakfast. So early park admission is absolutely worth it. Lightning lane, Genie Plus service, worth it with Magic Kingdom. Not so much with the other one. So like I was saying with Hollywood Studios, the way that one works is they won't let anyone but the resort guests into the park at all before that the park opening time. So they'll hold everyone else that's not a resort guest like back at the ticket gates, like where you scan your Magic Band to get into the first place. So only resort guests get into the park. We hopped on the Skyliner at like 7:15, I think. We were staying at Caribbean Beach Resort, which Skyliner Hub is where it's at. So we were off the Skyliner Hub and into Hollywood Studios at like early, like 7:25. Hi, baby. And my other kid just woke up, and it's only 5:30. Oh my goodness. Hi, baby. Yeah, that's your Moana. Mama's just using her right now, okay? Say good morning. Did you have sweet dreams?
Dad.
That's a light.
Dad.
That's a camera.
Dad.
That's Mama's coffee.
Dad.
It's a computer. Toddlers.
Dad.
And can you go sit on the couch with your brother?
No.
Yes. Go on. Yeah, go sit with your brother. Okay, I don't even know where I was anymore. Okay, so we were off the Skyliner and into Hollywood Studios like way early. I think we got into Hollywood Studios, maybe we were on the Skyliner Hub at like 7:20. I don't remember, but we got into Hollywood Studios like way early with the early park admission, and we got into a line for Mickey's and Minnie's Runaway Railway, like 45 minutes before the early resort admission started. So we were just standing in a line for like 45 minutes, which we didn't think that through. I don't think I realized like what time it was and what time it started. So we sat in the line for like a good bit, and then as soon as the 8:30 hit for the early resort admission, we were like the line just moved and we just walked right on. And then the next morning that we had the Hollywood Studios reservation, we did Slinky Dog Dash for the rope drop, and that one was much better like line wise for early park admission if you have little kids. So what we did was so they won't let you into the actual ride queue before the early park admission starts. You'll be lined up outside of it. So with Slinky Dog Dash, there's like the fence, and then everyone just kind of lines up around the fence in Toy Story Land. So what we did is hubby stood in line with the double stroller, and then I just took our toddlers to like run around the Pixar area, took pictures of them, which I'll insert some here because they were so cute and there was nobody around. I was able to take both kids separately, like I would put Man Cub in the stroller, took Weezer to go potty, brought her back, took him to go potty. So we were able to get all of that done before the line actually opened and started moving in to be able to ride Slinky Dog Dash. So the caveat with that one was when we were doing the early park admission, we couldn't get the rider swap set up until the line like started moving. So we were, I think like maybe 20 people back from the start of the line. And when we got up there with the double stroller, we said, hey, we need to do the rider swap. They're like, step aside to this cast member here and he'll get you set up with the rider swap. You can park your stroller here too. So we had to get out of the line, and at that point, like tons of people were just bypassing. So we were a little bit further back with Slinky Dog Dash, but we were able to get rider swap set up. I took Man Cub first. Hubby took Weezer onto Alien Swirling Saucers because she's tall enough for that one. And he said that they rode it twice in a row, like without having to leave because there was no one in the queue for it. So they're like, I can just stay on and ride if you want to. So they did it 2 times in a row. I took Man Cub on Slinky Dog. When I got off, we traded off. Hubby used his rider swap on his key card to take Man Cub, and then I took Weezer to the potty. She said she needed to go and got her like sunscreen set up. And by the time I got finished with that, they were off of Slinky Dog Dash, and I just moved the stroller. I had also moved the stroller over to Toy Story Mania stroller parking, and we were able to do Toy Story Mania, and I think we did Alien Swirling Saucers again, all before the park opened. So we were able to knock pretty much anything my kids were tall enough to do at Hollywood Studios before park opening time with the early park admission. So it didn't make sense to use Genie Plus for that day because there was nothing else that like we could do with our toddlers. So we ended up doing like Muppet 3D Vision, which Weezer was terrified of, but there's not a whole lot of wait because it's basically you're just packed into like a waiting auditorium, basically waiting for that one show to end for you to go in. So like even if we used a lightning lane, we would have been waiting the same amount of time. So Hollywood Studios is not worth it. Epcot, our morning that we had there, I got the Remy's Ratatouille Adventure virtual queue that morning at 7 a.m. I got a boarding group 59. We did not get called until like 2 o'clock, maybe a little bit later. And then we ended up having to stand in a 45-minute to an hour-long line once our boarding group got called with 2 toddlers. And it was not fun. So for that one, I would say 100% worth it. Don't touch that baby. To just go ahead and pay for that lightning lane if you can swing it, like if it's in your budget and you can afford it, I would do that. She gets all over the place because waiting in that line with them was not like, I had her in the carrier and then something happened. She saw him like swinging on the chain or something and freaked out and had to get down. And then at one point, I think they were both just like rolling around on the ground together. And at that point, we're like, you know what? They're not screaming and they're not touching anybody else. I don't care anymore. So not worth it for me to do the like virtual queue boarding group for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure because we ended up just waiting way too long. And the ride itself was extremely short. It was like a minute. And my husband basically described it as you're on so you have a rat car that you're in. My husband described it as we were on a Roomba And basically the Roomba takes you into a little nook. There's a big screen in front of you. The Roomba shakes around and you're like staring at a screen while you're, you know, a rat running around. And then the Roomba backs up and it goes through a little thing and it goes back into another nook with a big screen in front of you and it shakes around while you're like running around looking at a screen. Lasted like a minute tops and made me extremely motion sick. Like, I was green when we got off of that ride. So for me, I won't do it again ever, just because I know that ride made me like very motion sick. But if we were to do it again, I would pay for that virtual or that lightning lane, the a la carte lightning lane. That goes again to the confusing thing. You don't want to get down? Okay. To the confusing thing. So you have the Genie Plus, which is the $15 per day per person service to use. That includes, you know, all the rides that includes, and then each park has the 2 like a la carte lightning lane selections, and it's going to be the 2 most popular attractions at each park. The ones that I would say it is worth it to purchase, especially if you have small children, would be Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which sadly we didn't get to do this trip because we just didn't get around to it, and by the time that we were going to do it, it looked like rain, so we decided to just leave. But that one I would pay for, just because that line is always long, and I personally just don't want to stand in a 45-minute to a 2-hour long line with a toddler. Like, that's just not worth my sanity. So I would pay for that one. And then the other one that we did pay for, because we did not want to stand in a standby line and we didn't want to rope drop it, was Rise of the Resistance, because we had other rope drop priorities. We wanted to do the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and we wanted to do Slinky Dog, because those were the rides that our kids were old enough to enjoy. Even though Man Cub's old enough for Rise of the Resistance, like he's tall enough, we wanted her to be able to have something to do, and we figured she'd enjoy Toy Story Land more. So that one we paid for. Definitely worth it to bypass the line on that one. And then I think that's it, honestly. What's the Hollywood Studios ones? Mickey and Minnie and Rise of the Resistance, Animal Kingdom. Oh, that was the other one I purchased. So I did also purchase the Flight of Passage for Animal Kingdom, because we didn't want to rope drop that one. We rope dropped the Navi River Journey because our kids were tall enough for that one. And then I did Flight of Passage by myself one day. I would purchase that one because that line is always long. Okay, sorry, I had to go get her milk and make her potty because she woke up dry. We are like hardcore into potty training, and that was awesome. So I got her milk. Okay, so the other, what is it? Epcot's the last park with the a la carte. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, like I said, definitely do, so you don't have to wait in that line. And Frozen, not worth it, I don't think, to get the lightning lane. You can watch throughout the day and it'll drop to like a 30-minute.
Let go.
Yeah, you're Let It Go. You liked your snowman boat ride?
Yeah.
She is now obsessed with Frozen, thanks to riding Frozen Ever After in Epcot. And
Let go.
you want to sing Let It Go?
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go. So she's now obsessed with Frozen. Thanks, Epcot. But that one, it's not worth it to get the lightning lane because it'll drop to like a 30-minute line throughout the day, or rope drop that one. That's the one that we did rope drop on our Epcot Park day. We got there a little bit late for rope drop at like 9:45, I think, because we had breakfast at Topolino's Terrace that morning and it ran a little bit over. Both kids had to potty afterwards, and so we're a little bit late getting into Epcot for the early admission. But I think we waited like 30 minutes and we were on it, and it wasn't a bad wait because once you get past like the initial kind of meandering queue, you're in Oaken's trading post, and like that was fun for them to look at, and then there are other things for them to look at in the queue. So that one, don't buy the lightning lane.
No.
Let it go.
Let go. But wait.
Yeah, Let It Go boat ride. Okay, so my last part of this Genie Plus service.
Let go.
Okay, baby. Did you finish your milk? You still got some more milk. Is using rider swap with this service. So the one question that I've seen floating around, and I actually like saw the answer to this before I went, was can you utilize rider swap to your advantage like you could with the old FastPass system? And the answer is no for that one. And what I mean by that is with the old Fast Pass system, okay, so we're a family of 4. One kid's not tall enough to ride anything, or to ride most height requirement stuff. So used to with the Fast Pass system, you could get a Fast Pass for the 2 people initially riding, and the person that was going to be rider swapping, don't get a Fast Pass for them, get them a Fast Pass for something else. And the 2 people that had the Fast Pass for the ride would go through the Fast Pass lane. The rider swap person would scan their magic band and get a rider swap and be able to go through the Fast Pass lane with the kid by themselves. And then like they could go ride something else with their Fast Pass with the kid that's not tall enough to ride anything. They could do another Fast Pass lane. That doesn't work with the paid for lightning lane services with Genie Plus or the a la carte lightning lane. Okay. Sorry, I thought I was going to be able to film this with them still asleep. So, from what I read, and I didn't try it just because I didn't try it.
No.
But, so say for Rise of the Resistance example, if my husband and man cub got a lightning lane for it, like purchased the a la carte lightning lane, would I be able to get a rider swap tap and just take man cub back through the line, through the lightning lane line, through the rider swap? The answer to that is no. All 3 of us had to purchase the a la carte lightning lane to be able to use the lightning lane. So if just the 2 of them purchased the lightning lane and I did not, they would make whoever went on the ride first wait through the standby queue, and then the rider swap person would be able to use the lightning lane rider swap queue. So you can't finagle around that, you know, everyone paying for the lightning lane that's going to ride it. So basically, if you want to ride a ride through the lightning lane service, all of you, everyone's going to have to purchase it. That's your Moana. Here, you can have her. Here.
No.
Oh, okay. I'll put her back. My other thing that we discovered with using the Genie Plus service with rider swap, and the cast members don't really know how to, I guess, they don't really understand the workings of it quite yet because it's so new. You want to go sit by your brother? He's watching Lumberjacks. No? Okay. I tried. So, for example, Soarin'. We went to Epcot, I think it was our first park day. We went to Epcot that night, and I had purchased the Genie Plus service for the day because we were at Magic Kingdom that morning. So I went ahead and booked a Soarin' Lightning Lane pass for myself, my husband, and Man Cub. She didn't have a ticket because she's 2. So she's not even included in the like me booking of the lightning lanes. So kind of count her out of the equation, I guess. So I booked the 3 lightning lane reservations for Soarin' because we were using rider swap. We all 3 needed that lightning lane reservation. So when we got to the Land Pavilion, we didn't use a stroller that night because we were just popping over on the Skyliner. So I had her on my back and she fell asleep on the way over there. So hubby took Man Cub on the ride first because I was just gonna sit down with her. I'll insert a cute little picture here somewhere of her sound asleep on me. It was precious. So when we got to Soarin', we went to the lightning lane entrance. Hubby and Man Cub scanned their magic bands. Thing turned green. I was waiting with her. So the cast member had scanned my band with like the iPad thing to issue the rider swap. Yeah, we'll go find your magic band on it. So the problem is, with the booking of the lightning lanes, there are 2 like touch points. There are 2 touch points. Once you hit that second touch point where the lightning lane merges with like the standby line, you can book your next lightning lane pass. So I had hubby text me when he and Man Cub got past that second touch point, and I went ahead and booked our next lightning lane pass, I think for like Finding Nemo or something. So when they hit that second touch point, I booked the next lightning lane. Well, the problem was, when I went to do the rider swap with Man Cub, it like freaked the system out or something. So I had no issues with getting through Soarin' with the rider swap using the lightning lane because it was like on my magic band. But the problem ensued when we went to our next lightning lane after that at Finding Nemo. Man Cub and hubby, theirs turned green. They were able to go through. When I touched, yeah, we went on Finding Nemo ride on the clamshells. Yeah. So when I went to touch my magic band at the lightning lane touch point, it would like and turned a weird color, and everyone's like, I don't know what's happening. And then we realized, because I had the rider swap and I used the lightning lane like touch point after I had already booked Nemo, it like the system didn't recognize it, or it like canceled out my Nemo lightning lane, I guess. So I'm not quite sure what happened there. So basically, if you were using the Genie Plus paid for service and using the lightning lane with all the list of attractions, so if you're using that and you're using it with rider swap, so like with Slinky Dog Dash, Soarin', things like that, like Splash Mountain, things that have a height requirement that like maybe a younger child can't do, you need to wait until all of your party has ridden that ride and touching their magic bands, even with the rider swap, using the lightning lanes, before you book your next lightning lane attraction, or it just like freaks the system out and it's not going to recognize the person that stayed back the first time and used the rider swap when you get to your next lightning lane, which might not be a problem. Always screenshot your lightning lanes because it can be hard to find on the My Disney Experience app. My other tip would be, anytime you make a lightning lane, screenshot it. Because that way, if something happens like that, if you're using rider swap and it like messes the system up and glitches because it doesn't recognize it, you at least have a screenshot of, hey, these people in the party, all of us were selected to use this lightning lane next. So overall, my thoughts on Genie Plus, I love having the option. I don't love paying for it because fast passes were free and this is not free. So that's a bummer. But as a person going with 2 little kids that, as you can see from this video, can't sit still, and waiting in lines with them would be like, we just wouldn't have been able to ride the things that we rode because our patience would wear out and their patience would wear out, and we would not wait in lines that long with them. So for us, being able to just bypass lines like Haunted Mansion, we were able to ride twice. Pirates of the Caribbean, I think we rode like 3 times with the lightning lanes. I think we got Pirates of the Caribbean all 3 days that we did it. And Jungle Cruise, we were able to ride twice with the lightning lanes. Like, those are ones that I just would not stand in line for, because like Jungle Cruise,
Need bow.
you need your bow, your hair's in your face.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go get you a bow. Jungle Cruise, the entire line queue is outside, and it was, even though it was late October when we went,
Mermaid bow.
a mermaid bow. I
Bow.
don't know if I have one. We'll go look. Like, it was still insanely hot
I want a
outside.
bow.
Like, you can see from some of my videos,
I
I'm just
want a
like
bow.
glistening with sweat the entire time.
Bow.
At like 8 o'clock in the morning. It was just hot. So like, I would, okay, go get a bow for me. You go find one. Go find one, Mom will put it in. So for that, like, I would not stand in that queue. It would be miserable to stand in that outside line with 2 toddlers sweating to death. Like, I can't do it. My patience would just not withstand that. So for me, being able to purchase the like skip a line pass was worth it for me. For Magic Kingdom specifically. Like I said, the other ones, your best bet is just to rope drop the ones that you can. Or like Epcot, we park hopped into that one a lot at night because we were on the Skyliner hub. It was so easy for us to just hop that Skyliner, go to the park, find like dinner or a snack in the evening times. And then a lot of the time we didn't even bring the stroller for that one. I would just put her on the little backpack. So Epcot we went into a lot in the evening times, and after like, I guess 6 or so, maybe 7, the bigger rides had like no lines on the Future World side. Frozen pretty much always had a ride, but a line. But Future World, we were able to walk on to Living with the Land, Figment several nights. It was just a walk on at night, and Man Cub loved Figment. Weezer was terrified of him. He annoyed me to no end. So hubby and I basically took turns like, okay, I'll take Man Cub this time, you take him next time. Like, we'll just stroll around with her. But Spaceship Earth, I think I said Nemo already. The Donald ride, the Three Caballeros, was a walk-on. So at night in the afternoon, like the few rides that Epcot has, aside from like Test Track, didn't have any wait times at all. Like, you can basically just walk on them. So I would not personally use Genie Plus for an Epcot day. But other than that, yeah, definitely get it for Magic Kingdom Day, especially if you have small children or anyone, because it has the most amount of rides that you're able to utilize. And like I said, you might be able to do everything if you don't get it. Like, I'm pretty positive that you could still do everything. You would just spend a lot of your day waiting in line. And like I said, my sanity can't handle that with 2 toddlers. So we were able to, in between, you know, get the snacks and take a break and enjoy it. So worth it for us for Genie Plus. Just make sure you remember that caveat with the rider swap, because that was kind of like a, I don't know what's happening moment, and all the cast members were like, eh. But probably because it was the end of the night at Epcot, I had not screenshotted that lightning lane for the Nemo, but because it was the end of the night at Epcot and Nemo was literally just a walk-on, so using lightning lane wasn't necessary. But I'm stubborn and I paid for it, so I was getting it and using it. They just let us through. But make sure you are screenshotting every lightning lane reservation that you make, just in case something like that happens and there's a glitch in the system, because it is new still and they're still working out kinks. But I hope this video was helpful. I know it's a lot for me to explain it. It's a lot to wrap your brain around. It's kind of ridiculous and very confusing. So hopefully this video was helpful and it could help someone else with toddlers plan their trip. Please make sure you give this video a like and a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and follow along for our Disney days. Thanks, guys.